It's time for the Loco Sports Lowdown. Here are your hosts, Justin Jarrett, Wes Kerr, and Max Araj.
Hello. Happy Saturday in December. Longest day of the year, or shortest day of the year, rather. Marcus
Hey, if
Walsh.
you're on the other
Shortest
side,
day of the year.
it is the longest day of the year.
The other way. I mean, it is a long day, though. It's a long day because it's dark so long on this day.
Yeah.
But Marcus Walsh looking a lot like Max Araj tonight.
Yes,
Sitting
indeed.
in with us for the moment. I think Max is coming. He's been on the
I think
broadcast all day.
he's
so-
coming, but he's got some family stuff to take care of first. So
gotcha.
I'll keep his seat warm here
Right on,
for the
right
moment.
on.
But I'll be on with you guys for the duration.
Oh yeah, I guess I slept through some dialogue earlier when
Yeah,
you
I
guys
think
were
he and
talking
his
about who was
family.
going to be on when.
I think he and his
see that
family
he's
were going
eating
to
with
be
the
out.
fam. Word. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I was taking a nap for a few minutes because I zonked out after the trip to Palmetto Axes today with the McCracken wrestling team. If you haven't been to Palmetto Axes to throw
Good
the
place.
axes, it's a good time. It's way more fun than I anticipated.
It's in Bluffton.
I really had a good time. Yeah. It's over off Bluffton Parkway, back behind Parker's and
I didn't even know this was a thing.
gymnastics place.
Very cool.
But yeah, I got my form now. I was pretty good. I made a bullseye in 6 out of 10 frames. I scored 23 out of 30 the first round, and then 26 out of 30 the second round, and my team won both times. So I got to hold the big axe for the picture at the end.
Oh yeah,
giant.
There you go.
But yeah, it was good times, and those people are really cool. We stumbled on the end of like a competitive tournament, like a marathon. And apparently there's a gentleman from Bluffton who is very highly ranked nationally in axe throwing. And I believe it after watching the last couple of guys left in that tournament. They were hitting the tiny bullseyes every time. It was impressive. So they had big long axes. They brought their own axe. Like the guys that used to take their own pull cue around with them when they'd go to the billiards hall. These guys came with a big bag with their own axe that was a little longer, and they'd just lay it on their shoulder and go, phew.
Reminds me of the Fresh Prince episode where Uncle Phil goes to the pool hall to get Will out of trouble, and of course Jeffrey comes along, and Uncle Phil's trying to play it off that he doesn't know pool worth anything. He's just trying to get things going and get Will out of trouble. He turns out to be a hustler, and he looks over at Jeffrey. He's like, "Jeffrey, bring out Lucille." And it's this big dang stick, and he just mows down these guys, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, yeah, you just got hustled
So I've
by the big
decided
dog.
I'm gonna pursue professional axe throwing, and
Right.
you'll see me on the Ocho someday. It was fun. I want to build a axe throwing thing in the backyard so I can practice because I
So
can't
that's
afford to go there.
the
It was great. It was great.
2025 New Year's resolution.
Yeah, I'm going pro in
Maybe.
axe throwing.
Trying to become the
No,
real
it
axe
was
throwing
fun though. I think it's. I've always liked. Like when I was a kid, I loved playing horseshoes. I would go in the backyard and just play horseshoes by myself for hours and hours and hours and just try to perfect my craft. And it's the same kind of deal, right? I mean, darts too. I got way into darts in college. And by the way, Palmetto Axes is becoming, this is breaking news now. I don't even know if I can talk about this. It's going to be called Palmetto Throwing Club because they're going to add knife throwing and darts.
Oh
my.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Ladies and
But it's
gentlemen,
cool. You can
be
bring
careful. Please.
So you can bring in your own food. So like you can have like a party there, bring in pizza
Nice.
and
Have like
stuff, and
yeah.
they just want you to buy the drinks from them and throw the axes with them. So they got TVs up there. It's super cool. Didn't mean to make it an ad for Palmetto Throwing Company.
Hey.
That's really cool.
But,
and I feel like it's one of those places where some people haven't considered. It's a nice bonding activity.
Yes.
I'm sure for families, for coworkers. Yeah, it's a cool kind of cool experience for sure. There's we have bowling, which people know about. Bowling over there.
Yeah. It's
I mean,
similar to bowling in a way, because they give you a little tutorial before and teach you how to do it. And it's similar to bowling in the sense that there's arrows on the ground to line you up, and one of them's yellow. That's like the starting point, and then they have you start there, and then they adjust you forward and backward and have you switch axes to get the right rotation. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And then you adjust from there. And it was fun to coach the kids too. Like, hey, you gotta get your weight transfer right, because it's all about that weight transfer. You gotta
Right.
like let it go as the foot hits the ground, just like you're almost like a soccer throw in
Yeah.
a way.
Yeah.
And you got to have that weight transfer. The throw comes at the
Right.
point of
Yeah.
weight
Absolutely,
transfer.
like a throwing
And
side.
so if you don't do that right, your follow through is not right. It might not stick. It might go too high or too low because your release points off. Um, but it was fun to coach them through it. It's a lot. It's not unlike throwing a baseball in some ways. Like you got to stay behind the ball,
Right.
kind of thing. But yeah, it's fun. I hope people go check it out because new ownership, I guess. The original owners have sold it to a new group, and that guy who's real good at it is involved in the ownership group now. So anyway, go check it out. It's I think probably there's a little bit of a stigma about it because like you just don't know what that looks like, and it
Right.
just seems kind of
Right. It's
crazy.
still very new.
Seems kind of crazy, right? Like kind of weird. But then you go in there and you do it, and you're like, man, this is
Kind of
really fun.
dangerous, but
Yeah, but it was less dangerous than I anticipated.
right.
Far less
That's the
dangerous than I
point.
anticipated.
Yeah.
There was a lot of safety. There was a lot of safety discussion at the start, and everybody took it very seriously. You stay
Who knows
behind the line. You're not
with the amount
throwing.
of Olympic sports they continue to add each year, or each
I could see
Olympics,
it.
and maybe we'll see axe throwing one day.
I could see it.
One day.
Yeah, they asked, has anybody ever done axe throwing? I was like, not really. I mean, I messed around with it when I was a kid on the farm. I would try to throw an axe at a tree or something, but no, I've never done it like this. But it was cool. It was fun. We're still talking about axe throwing. Nicholson Law Firm is the presenting sponsor of the Loco Sports Lowdown tonight, special edition on a Saturday since we're in this weird holiday schedule. Nicholson Law Firm, our original sponsor, all-star sponsor. They've been with us since the beginning, and they can help you with all your legal needs, but they're our official real estate closing attorney and presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage. So call on Nicholson Law Firm for all your legal needs right in downtown Bluffton. They're our presenting sponsor tonight and the all-star sponsor of Loco Sports. We had a lot of basketball going on tonight, boys. Good amount today. Wes, you were out at the Seahawk Holiday Classic where the finals are set. What happened out there today?
Yeah, busy afternoon turned evening over there at the Nest, Hilton Head Island, and some terrific contesting, and probably the most exciting one involved our Seahawks, the Seahawk boys, with an overtime win. Really nice victory over Westwood today. They took it 76-66 in OT. That is a consolation game, so they will play for fifth place tomorrow against Harlan County. Which defeated Sumter. So it'll be Sumter and Westwood in the dreaded seventh place game over there on the boys' side. And then in the championship bracket, we had Boyd Anderson over Mount Lebanon 41-32, and Westminster Christian, who came back to beat Hilton Head on Friday night. Hilton Head was up by 10 and could not hold that lead. Westminster Christian got Butler College Prep 55-44. So it will be Boyd Anderson against that Westminster Christian side in the boys championship, and it will be it'll be an all Florida matchup. Boyd Anderson and Westminster Christian, both hailing from Florida. So that will be interesting. I have not seen Boyd Anderson yet. I'll hopefully be able to see them tomorrow. They're in the Lauderdale Lakes, Florida, which that's near Fort Lauderdale.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course the other squad, Westminster Christian, is from Miami. So that should be interesting, all Florida matchup, which is, something you rarely see. And Florida is actually right near Miami. So
See it a lot in Florida, not so much in South Carolina.
Right, but I'm saying it's kind of cool because these teams are so close to each other, and they're playing a championship game in a tournament in South Carolina. So that's kind of crazy to see something like that happen. But and then on the girls' side of things, that bracket's a little weird because there's only 6 teams, but a couple of consolation finals: East Side 48, Levitt School 37. That was actually the one consolation final because Hilton Head, despite losing on Friday, they got to play in the semifinal, and that's how the bracket worked. They fell to Page 69-12. That's a really strong Page side that certainly handled the Seahawks, and that team is out of Tennessee, and they will go up against. Uh, this is crazy. We got a all Florida final. We got all Tennessee final because David Crockett, they
Good
knocked
old
off
David Crockett.
Sumter 72-36. So we have an all Tennessee final on
Wow.
the girls' side, an all Florida final on the boys' side.
By
So
golly, if
it's
I
on
had a
the
coonskin cap, I'd put it on.
That's
But
right.
yeah, Page against David Crockett and the girls' championship game that will take place at 2:00 at the Hilton Head Gym, and then that'll be followed by the boys' championship game at 3:30 between Boyd Anderson and Westminster Creighton. So I'm excited. I'm pumped to see how both of those games go. I feel like both of them can be very competitive. It's gonna be interesting. Both Page and David Crockett have kind of ran through their sides of the bracket. Boyd Anderson and Westminster Christian, it's good for Hilton Head to not just get this win today, but kind of see after they hung tough with that Westminster side through three quarters, couldn't hold on. And they're going to be playing for the championship as I talked about with Westminster Christian against Boyd Anderson coming up tomorrow in the final game of the afternoon. But I want to talk about that Hilton Head game because that was a barn burner, a tremendous win for Shane Brown's group, 76-66. Hilton Head had a lead for the majority of it. It kind of went back and forth down the stretch into the fourth quarter. Reese Stewart had the hot hand for the majority of the game, especially late in that first half and into the second. He led the team with 24 points, hit 7 3-pointers, 7 threes from beyond the arc, just continuing his scorching not shooting from yesterday. My gosh, he might be the best pure shooter right now in the Lowco.
I would agree.
Yeah. Not saying like overall best player, but in terms of best pure shooter right now, I mean, there's no one as hot as Reese Stewart is shooting it right now. So keep an eye on him. He could be a difference maker for the Seahawks as we get into the meat of the season. But the real story was Joshua Hunter, who absolutely took over in overtime, and that's just a 4-minute period. He scored 9, including a couple of and-ones to put the Seahawks over the top. It was back and forth for the first 2 possessions of overtime, but as soon as Westwood scored, Hunter came right back out down the court, charged to the rim, and scored while being fouled twice to open up overtime. And that dude has some outstanding hustle, which it kind of caught me off guard. He was such an important contributor in this ball game, and we see so many guys kind of come out of nowhere in these Shane Brown coach teams, and he's got some outstanding.
Did he come from? Yeah, he came from May River. I was thinking Josh Hunter. That's
right.
Kid.
That's right.
That kid from May River. He didn't play a lot last year, and I kind of wondered why. Because he 6'3", big body. I felt like, man, it seems like they could use him a little bit more. And so it's good to see that he's getting some run over there at Hilton Head because I always thought there was a little bit in there and he just didn't get it quite enough run to get it out,
Right.
And
he had some big
more
moments
time on the
against
court.
Richmond Hill the other night too. When I was there at Hilton Head seeing Richmond Hill late in the game, he seems to get better as the game goes on. In my opinion, he just comes
Gets
up in late big time moments, gets into a rhythm, and goes off. And it sounds like he did that again here today.
And he kind of
that's probably it.
And
Libby
they just kept going to him in overtime.
Whitmore Doghouse. I mean, that's probably it. He probably had a hard time picking up something about what they were running. Like that's probably it. It just didn't quite translate for whatever reason. Yeah, but you could tell like there's a ball player in there. Just for some reason it didn't work with what they were doing. But I'm glad he's getting a chance at Hilton Head. That Hilton Head team, they're interesting.
I'm liking what I'm seeing from this team. They're going to be a good challenge to Bluffton and be a good challenge to May River. Any given night, either of those teams can get upset by this Hilton Head squad. I think the Seahawks, especially if they can shoot as high as they are, they're going to be a tough team to face for
Yep.
Bluffton or May River or any team in this region. It's going to be a ton of fun just to seeing how those matchups between these teams go. But I don't think there is much difference between them. I think Bluffton right now is looking like the favorite so far. May River is not too far behind. I don't think this Hilton Head team is too far behind either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's definitely top heavy.
Bluffton's pretty big across the front, and I think that they're really small in the backcourt though, so that
Right.
kind of levels off a little bit as far as matchups go. They're I'm going to be interested to see when Bluffton plays more close games if they can play a little more disciplined. Because they've been in some blowouts and they've gotten real loose with it and throwing oops and
Yeah, they really haven't had
being
any close games. The loss to Prep wasn't too close. Prep kind of pulled away in the
right.
second half. And so
Yeah,
that
but
Bobcat Classic, I think, is going to tell a lot about this Bluffton team.
right. Like when you
Especially
play a
this-
game against somebody who can beat you, you've gotta be on top of it. You can't get cute with stuff. You got to nail it down. And I think they'll be able to do that. I think they can turn it on, but it's a dangerous game to play loose when you can afford to, because then you sometimes
I
slip into
think
bad
Hilton Head
habits.
plays a lot more disciplined basketball. I think
Yeah.
Shane Brown instills that in his guys, and they don't
And
get
same with May
rattled.
River. And that's kind of what I was getting at is those two are a little more disciplined than Bluffton is right now. Go ahead, Wes. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
Yeah,
off.
no doubt. I just feel like though they don't get rattled. They'll find ways to pick up scoring from a bunch of different guys. They can play tough on both ends, even though the defense has been there sometimes, and they've played some solid teams, and they've been able to battle. It's all about, can you find a way to box out and get some more rebounds and not allow second chance, third chance opportunities. But this was a tough game. Westwood's a solid team. They had some shooters on that squad. They had some athletes on that team, and Westwood had their runs. But Hilton was able to sustain those and find an answer on offense when Westwood was able to make those runs. So I think I think they can grow a little bit more defensively, which I'm sure they will under a Shane Brown coach teams. But the offense is a ton of fun to watch. And like you said, I mean, even in the loss that they had, I know. I mean, they let 10 points lead slip away,
Mhm.
which was disappointing. But even so, they found ways to get back in, or at least make it close,
Mhm.
and kind of not let the situation overpower them too much. Obviously, that's a very good Westminster team. We play in the championship tomorrow. But the way that Hilton Head is battling, second game in as many days, they still looked at a high, fresh kind of level out there. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they finish off the tournament tomorrow. They take on a solid Harlan County team for fifth place. So, it'd be nice to go out on a victory into the Christmas holiday. But certainly going to be another test tomorrow against that squad from Kentucky. But Joshua Hunter's providing a nice spark plug. Reese Stewart, obviously his shooting prowess has been fun to watch. He can also display some nice driving abilities. He's getting better just with his overall awareness out there on the court as a senior. And then the other guy, well, there are a couple of guys, but we talked about him last night, or I think recently. Keita Smith saw some more time in there, just a
Okay.
freshman. I feel like they really have something with him,
Yeah.
and I feel like as he gets more minutes, he's going to contribute more to this team. He's got some size. He's got some
Mhm.
nice movement with the ball. I like his game. I think it's going to be very impactful down the road for this team. Rashawn Beatty can hit some shots. McKenna Allen
Yes, he
made some
can.
clutch free throws in this game. And then Tajay
The
Wright.
young player.
Tajay Wright.
He's a
He is,
beast.
yes,
He's a
underrated player, and he was tremendous several times in this game. A really nice 6'2"
Bowman is tough too.
player.
And Kyrese Bowman as well is
And I even
outstanding.
mentioned
I think,
Kyrie Spillman. He had a really he poured in
yeah, Stuart Bowman and
he
Wright.
poured in
Wow,
15. Yeah.
what a trio.
Yeah, it's a deep, like, it Shane Brown's teams, we've seen it a couple of years ago, but they're fairly deep, and they have
They're
Yeah.
sneaky deep.
players who come in and produce at a high level, and so that's what has made Hilton Head tough to go up against in the past. And I feel like this Hilton Head team is going to make some noise in this region and sneak up on a couple teams, and maybe even more than that. But we'll have to see. I just always love watching Shane Brown coach,
I do
watching
too.
the way his teams improve throughout the year, watching those young
Yeah.
guys step up. The system that he employs has certainly been working from year one of this program. It seems like every year they're in the conversation, or that one year, of course, where they got to the state championship. He's building a great program there, and you see
Yeah.
those kids really locking and buying over the years. So great to see that. And this was a game where I think they can really build a lot from. Winning close games early in the year. That's really important because we talked about bluffing. Like, can they find ways to close out and win games? Well, Hilton Head is, even though they lost a day ago, they proved they can bounce back and win a big game against a solid Westwood team. So there's a lot to like. I had the pleasure of doing PA for this game, so I wasn't able to shoot any video, but
Right.
certainly was a fun game to be a part of, and I won't be able to watch the next one tomorrow because it will be in the auxiliary gym because they're playing in the consolation bracket where we got the championship games there and the third place games over in the main gym tomorrow. But definitely we'll keep track of how the Seahawks do, and it should be two tremendous championship games. I mean, obviously no
Yeah.
Lowco ties, but
Right.
I think it's very cool to have an all Florida final in the men's
Yeah.
the boys side, and an all Tennessee final on the ladies side. So it should be two terrific games. So you definitely make your way out for some Sunday afternoon hoops. 2:00 championship for the girls, and the boys will follow.
There you go. Seahawk Holiday Classic wrapping up. We are sponsored by our MVP sponsors. We've got Base Hit Life, our baseball and softball apparel sponsor. You can check them out at basehitlife.com and see all their cool styles. They got t-shirts, hats, apparel, sweatshirts, all kinds of cool stuff. The hoodies are great. Check them out at basehitlife.com and live your best base hit life. We've also got homegrown home inspections, best home inspectors in the Lowco. Congrats to Jan Lucas of Homegrown Home Inspections on his Buckeyes first half performance so far. You as well. I see you repping Marcus Walsh. Playoffs have been boring, but Homegrown Home Inspections,
Yeah, so
they're
far.
never bored.
They're going to
are
get
they?
real
I
interesting
will
next
say
week.
they may have been boring, but I will say Clemson made it interesting. It was a one-score
Yeah.
game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
They
Yeah, no, that's
they
true. It
they
did
hung
not
around
look like
for
it
sure.
was going to be
But the
interesting
problem is
early on.
they could not stop the run game.
Right.
Texas's
No.
run game was well too much for Clemson,
Yeah.
and you just
Yeah.
I just knew as a Clemson fan, even if they were able to hook up on a few pass plays with Klubnik could get back in it. I wasn't confident in the defense's ability to stop that Texas Russian attack, and lo and behold, they scored on like a 70-yard run just as Clemson cut it to within a touchdown, and so not too surprising there. But for Clemson,
Still, Homegrown Home
you
Inspections,
got to be
very
satisfied
excited.
with making the playoff, just getting back there, and now certainly a couple more things to shore up as you get ready for 2025 for them. Dabo finally peeking his eye into the transfer portal and naming some guys. We'll
Yep.
see how that will affect things moving forward. But Ohio State is all over Tennessee, 21-3, and could potentially set up a really fun Rose Bowl on New
Yeah.
Year's Day, which I mean, obviously
True
be a great
Rose
game.
Bowl.
Ohio State, Oregon, but it harkened back to the classic Pac-12 versus Big Ten, where it was always those two conference champions that met in the Rose Bowl,
Right.
regardless of playoff. Well, I mean, I guess if the BCS
Even
is
before the playoff.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was one
BCS,
versus
of
two in the
course.
BCS. So if you weren't one of those two teams, the Rose Bowl would
There
select
was a
the best.
time even before that believe it or not,
Yes.
when there was no championship. We just the writers got to say who was the champion. That was great.
Right.
But anyway, homegrown home inspections owned by an Ohio State fan. So as long as you can live with that, call on them for your home inspection, and they'll make sure you're making a
great
great
work.
purchase. They'll check on that new home and make sure it's built right every step of the way. Hospice Care of the Low Country, now part of Mirasol Health, which we learned this week, and we'll be updating our ads for them. But they're still providing the great same services that they always have, plus much more at Mirasol Health, where I'm sure it's not about dying, it's about living, but they probably have
Of course.
a new slogan over there as well. And USCB, Center for the Low Country Hospitality Education, has all kinds of great programs. Go check them out at their beautiful campus on Hilton Head Island. Those are our MVP sponsors, along with Wes's thoughts on the playoffs that I invited. That was my bad. I mid-ad started talking football playoffs and set you off. But no, they've been kind of lopsided today. Not quite what we had hoped for in this first round, but nonetheless, we get a lot of boring bowl games in the regular year too, or in a normal year.
Right.
So this year we just have a few playoff snoozers, but they get to play again next week.
More football.
They'll cook up
More
next week for sure.
football.
They will.
More
They will
football.
definitely
Speaking of
cook up
which,
next week.
I don't know where it went. There it is. The Chiefs are still invincible.
Yeah, it was pretty convincing today over the Texans from what I.
It was kind of a nail biter still.
Texans gave them a game. Houston gave them a game.
They did, but Kansas City showed a lot in that one.
We just kind of kept.
Mahomes coming, like there was some doubt on whether Mahomes would play in this game.
Man, I sure didn't think so.
Yeah.
I really didn't think he would. I thought they'd sit him today so that he could for sure play on Christmas Day. But then when he was full participant in practice all week, you were like, well, I guess he's playing. And sure enough, he said he could have gone back in the game last week if he needed to. But so that was unbelievable. I don't know what kind of deal he's made with what higher power, but I'm down with it. He's always okay for some reason. Chris Jones got hurt for a second today. That was scary, but he's okay. But Chiefs looking good. Nice one for the Ravens over the Steelers.
Very nice win. Got some extra fantasy points, courtesy of one Derrick Henry running around like a madman again.
Yeah, he was a monster.
I love it.
Lamar Jackson has certainly gotten hot the last few weeks of the year. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in a crowded AFC picture. I'm sure we'll get to that a lot more in the coming weeks as the NFL playoffs heat up. It's a busy time of the year in that regard. But But
the biggest game in our universe today was the championship game at the John Drafts Battery Creek Classic, where it was Loco on Loco, May River against Hilton Head Prep, and Max was on the call.
What a ball game!
Let's check out the highlights.
Well, that's a sports name.
With the audio on, because I want to hear Max.
Back in the game for May River.
Shahan, left shoulder, right shoulder. In the bucket.
You see May River leading here in the second half.
And Prep will get the ball back.
Fourth quarter.
We had a good game. River. Yeah, fourth quarter. Sharks up by
Long
4,
three,
but
and it's good. And it's River.
That is a
long
one.
three, and it's good.
More? Is that more?
And it's a one-point game.
Ooh,
May River answers with a mid-range.
First half, rather, with the offensive explosion from both teams. Have got us
3-point game.
We have here now.
7 to go.
I mean, Nisa was telling you to score 4 to 6 technically if you started at the second half.
Harpering.
He's been silent, but he's getting on
that goal. That was a deep three.
Go. All of the lights.
6.5 to go in the fourth quarter.
More karaoke from Javon.
Well, I do happen to know that Nisa did show up today, so that might have been them singing their duet.
Rendition, huh?
When you mentioned Reese Stewart being the most pure shooter, I almost said
there might be an argument here.
Let's keep Ty Harpering in that conversation too.
No doubt about that. Ty Harpering has shown a lot through.
But I feel you though. Reese is He is
I
a
may have
shooter.
some
Shooter.
bias.
Look
Inside,
at
gets the
that
No,
right
bucket.
I've seen
side.
Wes
Wow.
Harper play, and
Inside out to
he's
Macy.
an active shooter as
Rolling
well.
in, floater, high bounce off the top of the board and into the hands of Shahan. Another rebound. Campbell up front, and
Great
there's
pass.
Harper. And he takes
Oh,
it
they
out.
can be lethal on that quick
Classic tournament.
transition game.
May River
And as you
And all
can
of a sudden,
really
see,
it's up
good
by
ball
5.
defense, but it's
Prep
Hilton Head
buckling
Prep. The
down in the
story
fourth
of the
quarter
second
like
half,
they
the
do.
comeback trail
There's
that they've
Kyle
been on.
Bennett
They're up by 5 now.
stalking the
Macy's
sidelines.
calm
He's
down.
fun to watch on the
Duncan for
sidelines.
Oh, beautiful
Oh,
shot,
James
Gage Duncan.
Duncan.
May
Well,
River
going
fighting
up,
back
this has
here.
been one exciting championship game
Alas, May River
here
will
at
Well,
not
the
Max
score
having
BC
some
again.
fun.
Classic.
Yeah, he
John
is.
Trask, BC Classic.
The John Draft BC
Oh,
Classic.
John
Excuse me.
Trask, BC
didn't
Ooh,
get the
Classic.
call.
wow.
I think that's a good no
You
call,
get it,
actually.
indeed.
Yeah,
Back.
yeah.
That was a bit of a
Play,
flop.
Coach. Come on, I'm ready to go.
NFL Toro shots. Anyways,
Yeah.
here we go. Working. Great defense right here by May River. They got to make something happen. They're down by
Oh,
4. Harping. They can't
God.
let that happen.
Stretch finish.
That's a solid team right there. Hilton and Prep, who knows how to close out
So
games.
good.
Just workmanlike sometimes. So Harpering is right up there. What an addition that he has been as Hilton Prep gets another stud coming right towards that program. So Prep, the John Drafts Classic champions. Well done to the Dolphins.
And the shine, unfortunately, has been knocked off Battery Creek a little bit the last couple of nights. Although I will say, the biggest thing that I learned about the last 2 nights about Battery Creek is they're a different team without Ethan Cox, and they really, really need him out there. I just, he's the centerpiece. He's the catalyst, and so without him, they just weren't themselves. They weren't the same. And May River played exceptionally well last night. And Brooklyn Casey, I think you're seeing here how well Hilton Head Prep played last night to beat Brooklyn Casey, because that is a good team with some serious depth. And I think if Prep didn't catch them flat-footed and go out 19-3 or whatever it was early, they might not have been able to hang on in that one. But they did. So a credit to Prep. They took down a pretty good field here at Battery Creek, and now they get to set their sights on a little Lowco championship next week at the Bobcat Classic.
Got a chance to pick up 2
Gonna be great.
championships in around this holiday time period. So that should be a ton of fun to see what the Dolphins can do after a couple of well-earned days off for the holidays. But they're going to be tested. There's going to be some solid teams, not just in the local, but you got Islands coming in, Bethesda, a team that I'm sure they know very well because a fellow Skeeza combatant. But Islands should present a solid challenge to this Prep team as well. So certainly going to be a ton of fun to watch this Bobcat Classic unfold with so much Lowco talent. That'll be tipping off the day after Christmas on Thursday.
Yep, I'm looking forward to seeing Bethesda in those matchups on Thursday, and then I plan on seeing the Bethesda girls against the JP2 girls on January 7th at JP2, because I haven't seen the JP2 girls yet. Of course, going to see them in action. Kevin and I will on WHHI this year, so looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing Hilton Head Prep in action again, especially the girls with Courtney Campbell, who just continues to fill up the stat sheets. I mean, you run out of ink
Speaking of
as much as
which,
she's filling things up, and that's why I mentioned her, JJ, because I know she had another whale of a ball game.
nuclear style weekend.
so
Wow.
she had the triple-double last night against McIntosh Academy. Today against St. Andrews, they won big, 54-15. Quad double, baby. 22 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, 10 steals. Cleary had 16. Hines had 10. They win big. They've won 6 of 7. On fire right
They're
now.
for real. They're for real, in my opinion. And Skeeza 3. There's no doubt about that. I'm all on this Hilton Head Prep girls team, and quite frankly, both the teams today, Hilton Head Prep.
Right. I mean, well, yeah, because the guys are starting to really look good right now. Like they're really starting.
Yeah, they're kicking it into another gear.
And clearly, I mean, what they run requires such precision and such consistency. It's unreal how mechanical they are with it. But it's the kind of offense that, like, even just introducing one new piece, it's going to take some time to really get it to to really gel together, but it's coming together really nicely. Harpering is phenomenal, and they've recognized that he's the guy, and they let him dictate a lot.
Run the show.
And then they trust the process, man. They run to their spots,
Mhm.
and somebody gets open every time, and they don't miss. They rarely miss when they get an open look. So, and they're so patient, they don't take bad looks very
Right.
often. So there's a lot to be learned by watching those boys play basketball, because it is precision. It is something else, and they carved some people up who had a lot more athletic ability than them the last couple of days. So it's pretty good looking team. Harpering is as good as we've seen here. He's reminiscent of when McCracken came in. We just don't have that kind of guard play here, and to have somebody who can do it like that is pretty cool to see. 3 levels and gets after it on D, rebounds exceptionally well. So it's fun. I've got here we go. Let's stop that screen because I got some other screens to show you. We've got brackets. I made brackets
Nice.
for the
Awesome.
Bobcat Classic.
It's cool.
I made them look good. I stole CJ's
yeah.
design from the Creek Classic. So there you go. There's your boys bracket. May River Battery Creek rematch. I thought I heard that Cox was going to be out for a few weeks, so I don't think they'll have him back, unfortunately. But I still think there's a chance that game goes differently than it did the first time, just because Battery Creek did not play well, and May River plays exceptionally well. So I think there's an opportunity for that game to be more competitive than the first matchup. Hilton Head Prep Hampton County is interesting. I mean, that's the
Yeah, I'll
ultimate
watch
in
that one.
athleticism versus precision. So that'll be really fun. I think Prep will get them, but Hampton is solid, and they'll make them work for it. Bridges Prep Island should be a pretty good game as well, and Bluffton should be able to take care of Bethesda, but Bethesda is always scrappy.
Pesky.
So
Yeah.
that'll be fun. That could be a high scoring game. That could be a
I could
pretty
take you over there.
entertaining
No doubt.
contest. And then they'll go on from there. And this starts the day after Christmas. So
Yeah, the 26th. That's a Thursday, and then
now this bracket looks weird, as you can see, because there are 6 teams, but they did it differently than Hilton Heads. So Battery Creek and Bluffton get a bye into the semis. And then Bridges Prep, Hilton Head Prep, and May River JP2 in the first round. Both
Excited for both those
not
games.
that competitive. Hilton Head Prep
yeah,
should
that
take out Bridges Prep
yeah.
pretty good. May River JP2 should be pretty good.
That'll be a good one,
Yeah.
though. That one.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
And then I think the second round matchups are pretty decent.
I think Hilton Head Prep. I like the Dolphins and Dolphins.
I like the Dolphins for sure. I'm taking the Dolphins.
Yeah.
But no, I think Hilton Head Prep should be able to win that game. The second game, I would think
agree.
whoever wins the first round game should be able to beat Bluffton, but I don't think it's a given.
Not at all. Not at all. But hey, May River Bluffton, not a region game, but a tournament game.
That'd be fun.
Sign me up for that.
I would favor. I agree with you guys. I would favor either JP2 or May River over Bluffton in that next round.
But a JP2 and Prep final would be fun.
If we get that. But Prep JP2.
So would JP2 Prep
or Bluffton? Yeah, either. Yeah, I mean, I think Hilton Prep is
any of them would be good.
Right.
Looking like the strong favorite to reach that championship game, but don't count out Creek. I do think Prep will beat Bridges. But yeah, I mean that bottom half of the bracket could be a ton of fun. Both those 2 games decide the finalists should be terrific.
End of the day, we get 7 Loco on Loco games, so that's cool.
Oh man,
in 3 days, that's awesome.
Group 7.
And then here we get 1, 2, 3, potentially 4. Potentially 5.
That's going to be a ton of fun.
6,
so Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, the Bobcat Classic.
Yep. Yeah. Gonna be very cool. I'm looking forward to it. Gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So it's tourney season, boys, and then a couple days after that, we'll fire up the
wrestling
May River Shark Invitational. Actually, the day after, because on Friday they've got
Monday, or does it start Sunday the 29th or Monday?
Friday the 29th. They've got the girls. Isn't that Friday the 29th?
No.
Sunday the 29th. Sorry, Sunday the 29th. They've got the girls, I think. And then Monday and Tuesday, girls and JV, and then Monday and Tuesday they got the big one, the boys.
Very nice.
So yeah, that'll be fun.
Lots of
Somewhere Carnell
holiday
Warren is seeing a bat signal.
Carnell Ward.
It's a bobcat
Yes.
signal in the sky.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a.
So
it's a
we
bad
should be able to sort out our power rankings a lot better after
Oh
that
yeah,
Bluffton tournament, I
you
would
know,
think.
Oh, absolutely.
no doubt.
Yeah.
That doesn't kind of does a lot for you. Not everything, but it should definitely provide a pretty solid basis on who's going to be the the top team. Obviously, not everybody's in it, but a good portion of the top teams. I'd
chunk.
say on each of the two sides, boys and girls, will be involved here. So, hey, I love it. As much as I like the teams coming from out of state, this is, this Loco Invitational kind of thing is a ton of fun.
It's phenomenal.
Yep.
Needless
Love
to
it.
say, Ty Harpering was the tournament MVP of the
No surprise there.
Battery Creek Classic.
None.
No surprise at all. I was looking to see if we had any wrestling results from the day, but I haven't seen any yet. I've
We
been
got
kind of out of
the
pocket.
hand-to-hand Hawk Invitational and the then at South Florence in the duels match.
Yeah, and I didn't see any. I couldn't find the Hawk Invitational on either of the websites, Track or Flow. So I'm not sure what's going on there. And then the duels, you can never find results for those. You got to get those straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. It's a little bit of chaos in the duel situations, but so we'll figure out what's going on there. We'll get you posted on the Loco grind. What you got, Marcus?
Real quick, guys. Tennessee scored a touchdown. They're down 21-10 with
Not over
20
yet.
seconds left in the first half. Buckeyes will get the football back.
All right.
All right. So we may have a game yet in Columbus.
Has Loco ties with Gaston Moore, the backup quarterback,
That's right.
under Nico
That's
for Tennessee.
We hope for the Vol's sake, we hope we don't see him. I mean, you never want your backup quarterback in the game. That's a bad feeling.
Yeah.
But
This
we do
environment,
want
it would
him
not
in.
be good.
We already have one Loco guy on to the quarters
On
with
his way to
Jalen
the
Sneed.
quarters. Jalen
That's right.
Headed
Sneed.
in Nolans.
Yep.
What's
Take
that?
on
The Sugar
Georgia.
Bowl?
Sugar Bowl
Sugar
and
Bowl.
Nolans.
Nolans.
Get yourself some beignets and gumbo.
Oh,
Little
brother.
jambalaya and
Oh, yes.
pralines.
I am down with
Oh.
the Cajun food
Woo!
scene. I will tell you that right now. I'm down with the
I never met
jambalaya.
a
I'd like
bowl
to
of
go
gumbo I didn't
down
fall
with
in
the
love with.
beignets.
Experience that side of the U.S.
I've never been to Nolans. I need to get there.
It's awesome.
I had a
Actually,
beignet,
if you guys are familiar with Kevin Belton, we took my mom and dad there for their 35th wedding anniversary back in 2016. And we actually got to see my brother, my mom and dad, and I got to see a cooking demonstration and taste some of Kevin Belton's creations. And he cooks on PBS and does all that for Louisiana Parish. We had gumbo, we had jambalaya, we had pralines. It was phenomenal. And I've had etouffee as well from this area. Never met a thing at etouffee I didn't love either. I mean, that's some good eating.
Yeah, I've heard of people going to New Orleans and hiring somebody to go with them and babysit them on Bourbon Street. You better believe it's a
Well,
giant
there's
party.
that too. There's that too.
I don't party like that, but I do want to go to New Orleans and I want to eat good. I do want to go to Bourbon Street, take in some
Bourbon
music.
Street.
Yeah.
Acme Oyster House is really good too if you're into oysters.
Okay. I'd probably go out of the way,
Gumbo
hole in
shop.
the wall places, except for Cafe Du Monde. You got to go to Cafe Du Monde.
Cafe Du Monde, you got to do it. Got to do it.
Do it.
Beignets
All right. Well,
and coffee.
Let's
Phenomenal.
show some love to our varsity sponsors. They're not from Nolans, but they're Yenzers from Pittsburgh. DDS Web Design builds, hosts, and maintains websites for businesses and nonprofits. So if you need one, call on DDS at ddshhi.com. Parker Law Group serves legal needs across Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties and helps us shine a light on deserving teams and student athletes on the Loco frontier. Dr. Ambrose Cole is our official chiropractor. He's at Rooted Living Wellness in Bluffton, and he'll get you feeling right, mind, body, and spirit. And if you're an athlete who's a little banged up, he'll get you back out there with your team as soon as possible. And Reverence Wrestling Club, our official wrestling sponsor, presenting sponsor of the Loco Grind. You can get your skills on the mat sharpened up and take them to the next level at Reverence Wrestling Club. Speaking of which, sharpened up, I made a little pitch trying to get Palmetto Axis to be our sponsor of our wrestling warm-ups, and put Palmetto Axes, iron sharpens iron on the back.
Oh, love it.
I like
That's perfect.
Love it.
Yeah, we're going for that. So those are our DDS or our varsity sponsors. There's an extra DDS shout out. What else we got going, boys? What else you want to talk about today?
Just
Not
another
much.
beautiful
I do
day in the
know-
low
Yeah.
country.
I do have one
Outside
other
of basketball,
score.
there's not
Oh,
I
much.
don't have a
I do
score
have
per
I have
se.
a parting thought, but we'll get to that too.
Yeah, I
Get
don't
to
have
that
a
in the
score
parting
per
thought.
se, but I do have a final that May River or Hardyville lost to Whale Branch boys by 7. We almost got
Ooh.
that first dub,
Yeah.
so
Huh.
we're hunting that first dub.
Tough
Gonna
one
get
for the
it.
Canes.
Yeah, tough one at home. Got beat by Faber in his return to Jasper County.
Tell you what,
Ooh.
that man.
Old Faber.
Whew.
He was apparently they were a little shorthanded. They had the flu bug go
Mm.
through their lineup. That's why I was much closer than the first meeting. But nonetheless, we'll take what we can get right now.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, tomorrow a busy day of hoops over at Hilton Head Seahawk Holiday Classic. Again, the local teams, the boys or the girls will play at 1:30, the boys at 3. So if you want to get out to that, and then we got one game on the schedule Monday, Colleton at Ridgeland, and then we're taking a couple days off Tuesday and Wednesday. Get back at it Thursday with the Bobcat Classic and roll into what will be a pretty busy weekend. If you consider Monday and Tuesday part of this extended weekend, then we'll have another day off. We actually got a game on the 2nd, Cathedral Academy versus Bluffton. That must be a tournament game somewhere else up
That's
in Charleston. I think it's a because I put versus. That usually means neutral site. So I think that's a Charleston area tournament. And
Yeah.
you see Bluffton has TBD the next day.
All right. So,
yeah,
man, they'll
that'd
be
cool.
busy. They'll be busy. Another tournament on the horizon. And then we're back at full swing starting on Friday with a full slate on the 3rd. And then,
Friday the 3rd.
yeah.
Really getting back at it. Got some regular games, some tournaments still mixed in there. And then, Monday the 6th, I feel like is kind of the start back to normalcy.
Normalcy,
Region play begins the 7th.
Yeah, exactly. So we got a couple of weeks here where it's, time to make hay for these basketball teams. Wrestling
Yep.
teams too. They're going to be in the room grinding during the week and getting ready for their tournaments coming up. So it's work season. Time to put in the work and see what you can get out. You get out what you put in. So it's time to go to work, boys and girls.
Yeah, that's by the way. Before you move on, that is the Waccamaw tournament that the Bluffton will be in that first week of January. The Waccamaw tournament in Polly's Island.
Oh, that's a haul. That's a
Yeah.
haul. I don't know what this means, but it's from Peter and Lisa Raj.
It makes something.
Yeah, maybe something to do with Max. That's Max's last name. I'm assuming it has something to do with Max, but I don't know what it means. Thanks, F. Kiri is. Sorry, guys, it's Max. Not sure what's going on with Max, but there he is. He's identifying as Peter and Lisa right now and
There you
typing
go.
nonsense messages. Was there anything else for us to talk about tonight, or should we wind this thing down?
Let's chat
It
Booster
was a
Club.
special edition. Let's shout out the Loco Booster Club and do our parting thoughts, and we'll call it a night. We've got Court Lifestyle Pros, your friends and mine, Marcus, Daniel, and Debbie Court, with Charter One Realty. They want to bring you home to Hilton Head Island. Eagle Creations has promotional items and custom apparel. They're out on Argent Boulevard. Check them out to see what they can do for you. Jay's Barbershop, great place to get your haircut in downtown Ridgeland. Also a great place to hang out and listen to great conversation. And Barefoot Floor Care, the Low Country, will get your floors so clean your feet will thank you wherever you are in the Loco. Hudson Seafood House on the Docks is the place for seafood, cocktails, and sunsets on Hilton Head Island. And presenting sponsor of Under the Bus. Check it out on the Loco Media Network or wherever you get your podcasts. And Hurricane Sports Cafe, the place to be in Hampton if you're hungry or thirsty. Pop in and say hi to the folks at Hurricanes. Tell them hi from the guys at Loco. That's our Loco Booster Club. Parting thoughts, gentlemen.
Yep. I'll go first.
All right.
Some sad news in the baseball world today. Lost one of the most influential players and one of probably the best, no doubt, the best base stealer of all time. That's the great Ricky Henderson who passed away today. at the age of 65.
So
Just
sad.
sad to see that. Just looking back on an exceptional career, one of the best that we have seen in the game. He holds the all-time base stealing record by a humongous margin.
Yeah. And he will never be caught.
1,406. You talk about one of the records that might
You
never
can
be
make the
broken.
bases as big as you want. They ain't
Yeah.
catching it.
You're not catching
But
it. That's
but
right.
not only that, but his ratio of steals, he stole 80% of his attempts were successful stolen bases. And I mean, just you talk about the influence
Greatest.
that he made on the game and the way he played and just the ability that he's shown out there. I believe also number one in all time in runs scored. He was right up there in walks as well. Was a Gold Glove winner. So I mean, it's just a rare skill to the likes of we may never see again. Obviously, it's a different kind of game, a different style of game. It's just harder to see those kinds of numbers for stolen bases. I mean, we've seen some excellent seasons in the past. I'm talking about guys like Ron Acuna, Shohei Ohtani, in terms of elite players who can be not just tremendous hitters but excellent base stealers. They're rare to come by. But it just speaks to the ability of what Ricky Henderson did, because it's one of those players who revolutionized and changed the game by the way he was able to steal bases and how important that he was to the teams that he played for. So obviously, too young to really witness his career, but certainly growing up and hearing about him, I mean, just an unbelievable mark that he left to the game of baseball. So
Unbelievable.
certainly will be missed by the baseball world and the
He was
sport.
probably my first favorite player. Like before I even really knew that I had a favorite team, I just loved to watch that guy play. And I think, the way the game was played when I was a kid, when he was playing it, and Kevin Libby says the nerds ruined the steal, because the analytics don't support it, right? Like it doesn't
Right.
make sense when you crunch the numbers. But I loved Ricky Henderson. I hated the Yankees, but I loved Ricky Henderson because I loved to watch him play. He was the most exciting player in the game, and it wasn't close because he always got on base and he always swiped him, and you knew
I
he
mean,
was
it's just
going, and
cheat
it
code.
didn't matter.
I mean, like it's just you talk about the analytics and
Well,
the
and
way
then as
he
you
was
get
able not just
older,
steal bases, but I mean,
oh
obviously
yes,
to be able to steal bases, you got to get on,
he
and
walked
he
so
Yeah,
found
much.
ways to
absolutely.
get on via walks and
Well, I've always felt like he was supremely underrated in the sense of his name never comes up when you talk about the greatest baseball players of all time. It
No.
almost never comes up. The goal as a baseball player offensively is to score runs. He scored more than anybody in the history of game. He's got to be among the greatest of all time. And I just think the way he played the game, it probably hurts him that he played for so many teams and he was viewed as a mercenary. But he was, to me, the ultimate baseball
you know,
player. He was the way baseball was supposed to be played. He was the Pete Rose of our
you know,
generation in a lot of ways. He was our Charlie Hustle. And then I mean, the stories of the things that Ricky said are just unreal.
Yeah.
There's one, my favorite one is a possibly made up or at least elaborated story a little bit, but my favorite one was allegedly he was playing with John Olerud in
you know,
maybe New York. He was somewhere after Toronto. And he asked Olerud, why do you wear that helmet when you play in the field? And he told him. And Ricky said, that's crazy. Ricky played in Toronto with a guy who had that exact same thing. And he was like, that was me, Ricky.
Yeah.
The other favorite, well, there's three favorites. The one that's been making the rounds today is John 316. And he said, forget about John 316. Ricky hitting 331.
There you go. Yeah.
And then the other was he's playing with the Padres, I believe, and they were up like 12-2 or something in the territory where you don't run anymore, right? So he walks, he gets to first, and first base coach says, "Ricky, we're not running here. It's 12-2. No, we're not running." Ricky takes off first pitch, steals second, of course. Next guy gets a hit. Ricky scores. Goes back to the dugout. Inning ends. First base coach comes in and says, "Ricky, I thought you
What are you
weren't
doing?
gonna. I thought we understood. We're not gonna run there." He says, "Ricky can't score from first." Ricky,
Oh, man.
just a legend, a
Yeah.
legend,
I
both in
mean,
his own
just
mind and in real
someone
life.
who, like I said, revolutionized, impacted the game in a way that we had not seen up to this point. And there are players throughout. I think of Stephen Curry in terms of the 3-point shot in basketball, and point countless other athletes who have changed the
Yep.
way that the game has been played.
Yep.
Ricky Henderson is up there as one of the more underappreciated legends, kind of echoing what you guys have remarked about him. So,
No question.
certainly someone that will be mourned and missed by the baseball community, and someone who obviously got in first ballot, but I feel like as time goes on and just as baseball continues to evolve and we see the analytical approach and how important it is to get on base and stealing is not automatic even for the best
Yeah.
the best of the best and just to see the clip that he did it at and the way he was able to consistently do it seemingly every time he got on base is just something that you may never see again.
Well, it
So
was his
certainly,
jumps. His jumps were
Yeah, he was
crazy,
getting a huge jump.
crazy, and you couldn't hardly pick him off. Like
right.
he was just such a good base stealer. It was an art to him, and
Yep.
he was Picasso. He was
Man of
unreal,
Steel, as they call it.
just unreal. But great parting thought, Wes. That was a great one. Marcus Walsh, you got a parting thought?
Yeah, I have a couple of them involving my Cleveland Guardians. I've been watching football all day and whatnot after being on the south end of the island this morning, and I was on Facebook, and all of a sudden I see that Josh Naylor got traded from Cleveland
Oh,
to Arizona
Ooh.
for right-handed pitcher Slade Ceasoni and a
nice.
competitive balance round B draft pick, courtesy
Well,
of MLB.com.
now that's valuable. That competitive bounce pick is
Yeah.
basically a first rounder.
Yeah, Naylor hit 243, 320 OPS, 456, or 320 slugging, 456 OPS in 2024. Towards the end of the regular season, and especially in the playoffs against the Yankees, his defense was less than stellar.
Yeah.
Cleveland's got Kyle Manzardo in the wings, who's going to take over at first base. Thus, a DH was needed. And as soon as I saw, maybe within 10 to 20 minutes after I saw Josh Naylor was traded, I'm like, oh, geez, what are they going to do to
What are
fill
they
that
gonna
void?
do?
Let's get Carlos Santana back for the third
Oh,
time. He is going to be a member of the Cleveland Indians / Guardians. He came from L.A. in the Casey Blake deal, and then played many years in Cleveland. He was like the guy that would take a 3-ball no strike count, take a strike, and then hit a grand slam when you needed
Carlos
it.
Santana.
Um,
is he
and then
not
he went
cooked
off
yet?
to Seattle. What's that?
I thought he was cooked a couple years ago. I thought he was about to
No,
get cut.
he's still around. Then he went off to Seattle, Tampa Bay, came back to Cleveland for a year, and then was in Minnesota, Kansas City. I think he
Yeah.
had a cold cup of coffee in Pittsburgh, and now he's back in Cleveland
And then he
again.
went to
So
Minnesota again this past year.
we'll see. And that's
Or,
right.
yeah, he was back.
So
His Minnesota stint was last year. It's just this past year,
we'll
but yeah,
right. We'll see, how things shake out with him, at least in a Cleveland Guardians uniform in 2025. And if only he DHs for the Guardians, even if it's, a platoon role at DH, the first thing that I said when I said that or when I saw that he was coming back is I hope he still knows how to hit jacks because his days behind the plate are over. Is he a better first baseman defensively than Josh Naylor? Maybe a little bit, but he's certainly getting up
yeah,
in
he was
years.
a
I think
30 home
he's
run guy not
30,
too long ago.
36, 37, 38. And that's the thing, Wes, is that he's going to provide the element of offense if he can, and he doesn't struggle. He's going to provide the element of offense that Josh Naylor has done, Plus, he's got a little bit more plus side on the first base side defensively. So he's very comparable to Josh Naylor. And Josh, has just struggled, like I said, defensively
Yeah.
in key moments.
You
And
have to make a change if you're not
yeah,
getting that production. Naylor has been solid for a decent amount of time at the plate, but
no question.
I understand
Yeah.
where Cleveland is.
He drives
coming
me crazy as a
from
player,
been
though.
made here with bringing back Santana and shipping Naylor out to Arizona. So
And with the move that they made a couple of weeks back, trading Andres Jimenez to Toronto, that was a little bit of a shot to the solar plexus for a bit. But there again, getting more pitching out of it, which Cleveland still desperately needs. The Shane Bieber signing was huge, even though he's not going to be ready for the first half of the year. Hopefully he's ready to go come July or August. And it's like making a trade without actually making a trade to get them the push for an October run, and possibly even deep into October, maybe even into November. So Cleveland's been wheeling and dealing and making some moves, but I just happened to see both those within the course of about a half hour today. And the winter meetings are done. Obviously, we're big into what's going on with football, with the college football bowl games, and the NFL playoffs are right around the corner. And obviously, we're talking high school predominantly, but before long, it's going to be spring training time. We're going to be getting going for
not just
Arizona
training,
and Florida.
We'll be talking about USC baseball and softball not too long from now.
Right.
Yeah, that'll be coming up very soon. But by the way, there was another piece of news. I don't know if you mentioned it earlier, but Paul Goldschmidt joining the Yankees on a 1-year contract.
I saw that too.
Yep.
Yankees.
So dream big, kids. If you can hit 235, you too can make $12 million. We used to tell you had to get 3 hits out of 10 to make it in the bigs, but not
right
anymore.
now. It's
right. You can get away with 2 out of 10 as long as you hit a bunch of bombs. You got to hit a bunch of bombs.
Yeah.
To do that though.
Have a good eye. Get on base with those walks too. That's like I said with Carlos Santana. That's another thing.
See, that's what you gotta tell these kids at a young age. A walk is as good as a single.
That's right.
And
get on base. Where it's at. OBP is where it's at.
Yeah.
And CM pitches is always a good thing for your team. That's a positive thing for your team. So, yeah, be patient. Be patient. And that will be my parting thought. Be patient. Be patient. It may not be coming to you right now, but trust the process.
Patience is a virtue.
Keep grinding and be patient. Lean into it. It's coming for you. It's coming.
Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, man. I mean, first 2
keep
throws
working.
today, I bounced it off the target. Didn't stick, and I got the right axe.
Tying it back to the start of the show. Love it.
Yeah. I got my skills honed in. I started throwing that axe, hitting them bullseyes, led my team to victory. So, I was gonna do a parting shot and just say, again, a great time at Palmetto Access today. Super hospitable people. They're big Bulldog wrestling fans now, and we're big Palmetto Access fans. So go check it out if you want something fun to do with the family this holiday season. Go throw some axes. It's not cheap, but it is worth it. I think it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. So they do have Groupons, I'm told. So grab you a Groupon before you head over. Save a few bucks. But it was fun. And it was fun talking with you guys tonight. Enjoyed it. Special edition, Saturday night edition of the Loco Sports Lowdown. Schedule will be a little janky for the next couple of weeks. We'll kind of do shows when we have content to talk about and take some time away when we don't and spend it with the families. But we'll try to get together with you most nights and let you know what's going on the Loco sports scene. So thanks for tuning in tonight. Thanks you guys, Marcus and Wes, for running point with me. Best wishes to Max with the fam tonight, and we'll see him back. We doing it tomorrow night? We should be able to round up some wrestling results to go along with the Seahawks Holiday Classic.
Wrestling. We got some finals of the Holiday Classic, so we can do a nice little wrap up lowdown of the week.
Yeah, we'll look to do a Sunday night special edition of the Loco Sports Lowdown tomorrow night, and then coast into the holidays for a few days off, and we'll see you on the other side of that. But we will be back tomorrow night. Thanks to all of our sponsors, especially the OGs, the All-Stars, Mickelson Law Firm. Thanks to you guys for riding along, and thanks to everybody who showed up to listen or watch. We'll be back tomorrow night, probably about 9 o'clock, but we'll let you know. Or just stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to the Lowco Media YouTube channel so you get a notification every time we're going live, and don't miss any local sports news and whatever else we talk about. You never do know. So we'll see you real soon. For Marcus Walsh and Wes Kerr, I'm Justin Jarrett. Until next time, go Lowco.
The Loco Sports Lowdown podcast is a production of Loco Media LLC and LowcoSports.com, an independent media outlet providing grassroots local sports coverage in the South Carolina Lowcountry. We are sustained by community support from sponsors and patrons like you. Get in the game with a monthly pledge of $1 or more at patreon.com/LowcoSports to keep us going and growing. Go Loco.